Remaking one of the greatest games of all time was never going to be an easy task. Metal Gear Solid Delta Snake Eater is taking the bull by the horns by remastering one of the most beloved games in the franchise, Metal Gear Solid 3. First released in 2004 for the PS2, Snake Eater was a smash hit, and has only been cemented in the minds of fans more as the years have gone by. Aging more like a fine wine than a cheese, Metal Gear Solid 3 has had the most re-releases of any game in the series. Besides the original version and Subsistence, the game has been re-released as an HD edition as well as a 3D version for the Nintendo 3DS. Not to forget the Metal Gear Solid Master Collection Volume 1 that also included the HD edition. Yes, Metal Gear Solid Delta Snake Eater is yet another release of a game held in high regard by fans. A risky move to tamper with classics like this, so has Konami got Metal Gear back on the right track, or is this another Metal Gear Survive? Let's find out. When I first bought Metal Gear Solid 3 on PS2, it was the original pre-Subsistence version, and was quite a difficult experience for me at the time. I've never considered myself an elite player of any franchise, just an enjoyer of many different games. Metal Gear Solid was, and still is, one of my favourite franchises, so to be unable to complete the latest version at the time was quite a downer. My original impressions of the game were not very high, and yes, now I see this as a skill issue, but at the time I blamed the game. Picking up Subsistence later helped a little when it was released, as it allowed you to freely control the camera, whereas in the original it was fixed, so I gave up on Metal Gear Solid 3 altogether for many years. I even finished 4 by the time I'd got the version I first fully completed, and that was the 3DS version, Metal Gear Solid Snake Eater 3D. I finally connected with it and beat it and loved it entirely. Metal Gear Solid 3 is a masterpiece by a genius at the top of his game. Hideo Kojima, who has since parted ways with Konami and created his own studio and IP, have found his magnum opus, in my humble opinion, when he gave Snake Eater to the world. The right amount of crazy supernatural villains blended with an unashamedly James Bond vibe gave us a prequel to the entire series that in my mind had never been topped by any other entry that followed. To have Konami announce Metal Gear Solid Delta Snake Eater as a full remaster / remake of the original had me worried after the first attempt at a Metal Gear game without Kojima, Metal Gear Solid Survive, just didn't work. This isn't a franchise you can just slap over any old game and have fans lap it up over brand recognition or churn out yearly iterations. Making Metal Gear special takes time, and up until now I would have said it takes Kojima. Metal Gear Solid Delta Snake Eater is a one-to-one remake remaster of the original game. It follows every story beat and even retains the 2004 voice acting. David Hayter, who is the voice of Solid Snake, did his best work in 3, so the fact that they never recast the voice was the only choice for them to avoid an online lynch mob up in arms. Does anyone remember when he was left out of Metal Gear Solid 5? Yeah, this would have gone down worse than that. The voice acting from the whole cast is absolutely superb, and the lines are delivered with the right amount of punch and zest. Keeping the soundtrack the same was a must. An infamously memed section in the game sees Snake ascend a ladder for around a full 3 minutes while the theme song plays. It's a historical gaming moment that also had to remain untouched. And that's the thing with Delta. It works because they have largely left the full package untouched. Sure, there are new additions to beef up the package, like the side games in the main menu, but even those were from the original game. They're just presented slightly different here. The whole thing looks spectacular. I played it on the PS5 before hopping over onto a PS5 Pro, and it is stunning on both consoles. Remade in the Unreal 5 engine, everything just feels modern, while keeping the aesthetics of the original. In my first run of the story for this review, I only found one glitch issue in the whole game during the boss fight with Vulcan in the Shagohod near the end. First cropping up in the motorbike chase sequence were some definite laggy moments, where the animation also seemed to drag. After the rail bridge where you fight him while he is in the tank, there were also some glitches as I aimed to fire the RPG. Outside of those two hiccups, the experience was better than I had imagined. Boss fights remained challenging and varied as ever. The final fight with the boss was particularly challenging, and I still lost a couple of times as the place got bombed before I'd finished the job. The quirks from the beginning shine, they're the right amount of camp, and they're all seen now through a shiny Unreal 5 tune-up. For newcomers to the franchise, this is the best starting point, as it's the best way to play the game now. The original has aged okay, but the new controls and the easier difficulty options make this way more accessible for those that aren't great at stealth games. Collecting all the titles and costumes will be the reason I go back time again, and I need to hunt down all those rubber frogs and ducks hidden throughout the levels. Metal Gear Solid Delta Snake Eater is so well done that you would think that Hideo Kojima himself was involved. In fact, I reckon he may have reimagined way more and changed things up if he had been the one revisiting it. So actually, Delta may be the ideal remake. Like Silent Hill 2's remake/remaster, Konami has knocked out the park with this yet again. I am glad they recognised the original team in the credits and thoroughly loved every minute I had in the game so far. There is also an upcoming online mode for the game that was delayed from launch, but the ongoing support for the title is already in the works. Hopefully this sells enough for them to finally remaster the first game in the series in the same style, and no, Twin Snakes does not count. Metal Gear Solid 3 is an iconic title, and Konami has navigated tricky waters to nail this remake with Delta. A flawless upgrade to a timeless classic that is worth a look for both old fans and new. Remaking a masterpiece is no easy task, but with Metal Gear Solid Delta Snake Eater, Konami has definitely pulled it off, and the result? A flawless revival of one of gaming's greatest titles. Metal Gear Solid Snake Eater is a stunning remake that respects its legacy while modernising just enough to feel fresh. For both long-time fans and first-timers, this is a must-play. Our score is a perfect 10 out of 10. For a full written review of Metal Gear Solid Delta Snake Eater, check out the link in the comments or visit our official website at gfinityesports.com.